الرحمن الرحيم. Let me start. Okay, so there we are. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم عليه. So brothers, we were doing Kitab al-Salah already. We finished earlier the chapter of the purification, which is the first prerequisite of the prayer. Now that we have started the chapter of prayer itself, last time we mentioned certain rulings related to who has to do the prayer. Can you remember that? Recall it?
The text for this translation
Doesn't show. Why not?
just shows the right version.
It's just not there now. See now? It is, man. See, it is there. Wait a few seconds. No? So, instead of distracting me, tell me what we learned last time. Zafar, girls, Yahya, Rakim. Where's Yahya now? So what did we learn last time? Quickly, we don't have much time.
We were learning about the times for Salah
Good.
and the conditions which obligate namaz. The three conditions which do obligate namaz is being a Muslim, being mashhud, and sanity. And the reason which make namaz
Someone else now. Reason for making namaz wajib, obligatory or necessary.
It's the time of namaz. If you're 10 years old, you have to hit them.
And time of namaz, yes,
The
good.
conditions that obligate prayer is Islam, maturity, and sanity.
That's mentioned, but reason for namaz being wajib.
Is it?
Good. Time. And is that the only reason? Okay, so let's. Today we're going to talk about. We also mentioned that there are times when namaz is makruh, disliked. Can you mention some of these? Zafar.
When it's
When? When it is
I was going to say when it's Zawal and
zawal time, yes.
Oh, good. You know, that treat me like
That's what's good.
Cool.
See.
Good. Yeah. What about other times like
When
you got meat in front, meal in front of you, not meat.
Yes, you should eat the meal. And then carry the namaz.
So in that, because otherwise you will be thinking about meal and namaz. It's better to eat it first.
When you have the urge to
Yeah. So you have difficulty in holding the urine. So better to go and free yourself, and then come back to the namaz. So continuing from our previous topic, which was about namaz, related to that is the azan. So that indicates the beginning of the time as well. Also, that it's time for namaz, so it is called towards the prayer. Today's topic, we are going to discuss the chapter of the call towards the prayer, because the call towards the prayer also has certain rulings attached to it, and these must be complied with and abode by. So the first of this is that the adhan itself is basically informing, i'lam. Simply, adhan means to inform someone, make an announcement. However, in the linguistic, Islamic jurisprudence, it means to inform the people about the beginning of the time of the prayer. So this informs the public of the beginning of the time of the namaz. And it is basically a sign of the namaz, i'lam. So it's a sign of the namaz. So azan is a sign of the starting time of the namaz. So it is basically something that denotes or represents the namaz itself. And an informer, you could say, it's an informer of the time, beginning time of the namaz. And they said this is i'lam. And they already talked about the waqt of namaz. Then why do they need to talk about azan, and why do we need to do azan to inform about the beginning of the namaz? They already told us about the beginning times already. So why should we need azan then? They mentioned that this is because the awqat, the timing, is only for the ones who have learnt the method of finding time. Only for them it is. Nowadays obviously have clocks, but the book was written quite a while back. So at that time they had no means of determining the time like the modern watches. So they would only the literate ones would be able to verify the beginning time of the namaz. And the other ones, they would have to rely on the adhan. For them, the beginning time would be marked by the adhan of the time. So that is why adhan is the i'lam and meant to be a sign for the prayer. Right? Okay. Similarly, in Islamic law, the jurisprudence, the fiqh, Sharia law, this basically indicates the call towards the prayer. And the reason this became part of the law, this was made, adopted by this method of informing the people of the time of the beginning time, was adopted in the first Hijri. And the Sahaba, they consulted each other, they discussed that there should be a sign which should inform us all about the beginning time of the namaz. Because when they were in Makkah, they couldn't do azan. There was ban on azan in Makkah. They would hide away when they would do the prayer, so they couldn't openly do azan. But once they migrated from Makkah to Medina, then they could openly practice the religion. At that point, they decided, and they agreed between each other that they should have a sign which should inform them about the time to come together for the namaz with the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. So in the first Hijri, they agreed to adopt the method of azan in the Medina, Medina Tayyiba. So, and the reason for the azan, sabab for the azan, is the entrance of the time, and that's also a condition for the azan to be correct. Otherwise, before the entrance, the azan is not correct. Right? So azan for the namaz is only correct if it is after the start of the time, not before. We'll mention later though, we'll mention masla, that except in Fajr namaz, you can do this before the time. Just a minute, I have a call. Assalamu alaikum. Hello? जी बिल्कुल बिल्कुल आपका बड़ा पास मैं भी कॉलेज में हूँ क्लास पढ़ा रहा हूँ तो आप तकरीबन 1 घंटे बाद फ़ोन करेंगे बिल्कुल आएँ क्योंकि जल्दी आएँ वो हम लोग जा रहे हैं कैम्ब्रिज तो आप जल्दी ले सकें आप नो वरीज ठीक है एड्रेस है आपके पास बिल्कुल स्टैम्फोर्ड रोड जी जी ठीक है What about the boys and girls? So azan is meant to be a call towards the prayer, and the hukm now that we come to the actual, masail related to azan now. So azan is sunnah. So call towards the prayer is sunnah, established by the practice or by the orders of Aqa alayhi salatu wasalam. And sunnati muakkada, the emphasized sunnah for the obligatory prayers. So for the faraid, one needs to do the azan. So sunnah muakkada has been placed with a greater emphasis on this. And even if the person is alone, the sunnah muakkada to azan. And even if the person is performing a namaz, after the time, missed the prayer, and intending to do namaz, should do azan, whether in travel, in the state of journey, or whether he is but he's at home, and whether and we talked about, I think that was yesterday in Quduri Sharif, the traveller's journey namaz. We will do that later here. In this topic book, we will do that later, inshallah. So the adhan is for the men only, remember. So for the women, it is disliked, because it is disliked for a woman to raise the voice, obviously. So their voice is also part of the aura. Aura is something that should be hidden, and the entire body, including the voice of the females, is aura, and they should be hiding it. Now nowadays you see ladies coming on the TV reciting naats. That is against Islam, against the Sharia. Alright? You see all sorts of people doing certain things. So brother Mikhail is asking what is azan. I mentioned earlier at the start that azan is call towards a prayer. Literally it means announcing something. So this in this context of the Sharia, it only means announcing the start of the time of the prayer. And so it is a term used for the call towards the prayer, azan. So we have call for the prayer every five times. So azan is sunnah, basically sunnah muakkada for every obligatory prayer after the time starts. Even if the person is alone, he's traveling somewhere, it is a sunnah and sunnah muakkada, recommended, emphasized sunnah for him to do azan, whether he's performing namaz in time or after the time. But it is disliked for the females because of their voice being something to be hidden, an aura, and out of their respect they should avoid raising the voice, and for the purpose of their security, in fact, and also for the purpose of their greater benefit in the society. So if people perform namaz without azan, everybody does namaz but they don't do azan at all, then that means they will become sinner. They have acted against the sunnah. So this will go against the sunnah of Islam, and they will become sinners. So azan is important. Similarly, just like azan, question? Okay. Right, so the question is that how come women don't have the same right as men? Well, they do. They have every single right, but in certain things they have got privileges. It's not depriving them of the rights, it is giving them extra privileges to women compared to the men. So in this case, while men are required to raise the voice and do azan, the women have been relieved from this responsibility. So it's not depriving them of something, it's relieving them from a responsibility to make the life easier for them. Okay. And similarly, the next thing is that just like adhan, the iqama is also sunnat muakkada. Iqama is a word, terminology, term which is used for the call, which is made just before the prayer, which indicates the establishing of the prayer. Iqama means the prayer has been established. So please come and stand in the rows and join the congregation. So iqama is at that point. In congregation, the iqama is made so that people could come and join the congregation, indicating that the congregation time has the congregation is about to start. So iqama is that. So that's also sunnah muakkada. Emphasize the sunnah and practice of Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. And even if a person is alone, then although there's no need to do the congregation yet, he should still do the iqama because he will still get the reward of following the sunnah of Aqa alayhi salatu wasalam, the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him. So some good questions by brother Mr. Mikhail. Good to see you questioning and interest in Islam. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and I'm here to address it if I could. And if not, then I will guide you to the right channel, hopefully. And then we learned that iqama is sunnat muakkada. In the adhan, you have to do takbir Allahu Akbar 4 times at the start. Right? And similarly, it is said that one has to also do takbir twice at the end. So 4 times at the start and twice at the end. But only these two things, only this Allahu Akbar will be said twice. Other remainder of the sayings, they will also be said twice, like Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Here. Okay, so he would say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah twice. Oh yeah. And similarly, do the Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, another line of the Adhan twice, and Hayya ala Salat twice, Hayya al Falah twice, and finally Allahu Akbar twice. The first takbirat will be 4, rest of the words will be twice. Yeah, this is how the Adhan is done. And in terms of the Shahadatain, listen to me please, concentrate here. In terms of the Shahadatain, when you're saying Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, one is not required to raise the voice in that, right? وَلَا تَرْجِيَ فِي شَهَادَتَيْن, repetition, like they used to adopt a special manner where they would raise the voice, lower it down and raise it. That is not required anymore. وَلَا تَرْجِيَ فِي شَهَادَتَيْن. But إقامة مثلها, similarly, the Iqamah is also similar to the Adhan. So Iqamah is also similar to the Adhan. Just like Adhan, except that we will mention later that in Iqamah, after the Hayya al-Salah, in the Adhan you have to increase 2 words. In the Adhan increase in the Fajr Adhan, after the Hayya al-Falah, you increase these twice. As-salatu khayrun min al-nawm. That's also sunnah, established by the order of Aqa alayhi salatu salam. Prayer is better than sleep, that means. And also, Iqamah, in Iqamah, you have to increase after Hayya al-Falah, this line twice. Qad qamat as-salah, that the prayer has been established, or prayer is commencing now. Should I mention the meaning of all the Adhan, for the benefit of the general public? So Adhan basically means Allahu Akbar, that Allah is the greatest first. 4 times, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. And then Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, meaning I testify there is no worthy of worship but Allah, twice. Then Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah, I testify that the Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, twice. Then the person would turn his face towards the right, saying Hayya al-Falah, Hayya al-Salah, come towards the prayer twice, come towards the prayer twice. Then towards the left, the same thing, Hayya al-Falah, Hayya al-Falah, come towards the prosperity, come towards the prosperity. Finally, if it's Fajr Azan, he would say As-salatu khayru min al-nawm twice, meaning the namaz is better than sleep. And then he would say La ilaha illallah, there is no worthy of worship but Allah. In Iqamah, after the Hayya al-Falah, they would say Qad qamat as-salah, meaning that the prayer is commencing, or is about to commence, or has been established now. So this is the proper manner of doing Azan in Islam. Any questions so far? Girls? Are you all clear on this?
In the Fajr Iqamah.
Just a minute, let me just move this as well. I didn't. These are the words of Iqamah. Yes?
So
Question?
the Iqamah Fajr, do you have to read As-salatu khayrun min al-nawm as well?
Iqamah? No, not in Iqamah. Good question, but only in Azan you read that. No in the Iqamah. Right. Have you noted it down? Or do you need to note it down? Do you all have the access to the book? Girls? Good. In that case, move forward then. So then recommended things for the mu'adhin. Mu'adhin is the one who is doing the azan, who is calling towards the prayer. He's a mu'adhin. So recommended thing for him are these. يَتَمَهَّلُ فِي الْأَذَانِ, that he is required to pause in the adhan. So pronounce the azan without being, in a hurry. Should take take his time. Pause after every 2 words, and that's how he should do azan. In the iqama, instead of compared to azan, he should do it quickly, speedily. وَيَسْرَعُ فِي الْإِقَامَةِ, in iqama he should do it quickly, because the prayer is starting now, so there's no time to repeat. Take pause. Quickly do it straight away. وَيَسْرَعُ فِي الْإِقَامَةِ وَيُجْزِئُ بِالْفَارِسِيَّةِ وَإِنْ عَلِمَ أَنَّهُ أَذَانٌ فِي الْأَزْهَرِ, that the azan is only permissible in Arabic, so one can't do in any other language. They only mention Persian though. However, this indicates that it's not allowed in any other language. Even if the public knows that this is azan, people may know the meaning of azan, so someone can start saying, oh, come towards namaz, come towards prayer, and Allah is the greatest. Just meaning of azan. People may realize that azan, but this is not still allowed and permissible, because that's against the sunnah. Sunnah is only in Arabic. Is that clear? Arabic, with Arabic text actually. So and it is also recommended for the caller towards the prayer to be a pious person, a pious, righteous man, alim also. He must be an alim of the, alim means knowledgeable, must have the knowledge of the hukum, ahkam and masail of the sharia, the issues related with the sharia, so that he could differentiate what's right from the wrong, which action he needs to adopt and which he must avoid, just like we're doing now. So the ones who are learning the masail, they are better posed to do the azan, whereas the other ones, they should avoid. But obviously nowadays you say majority of the mu'adhineen, they wouldn't have a clue about it. So the ones who are the most illiterate, they fight over doing the azan in the mosques. So often they go and say, oh, I will do the azan. Why did you do it before me coming? So I've seen people doing this, but they don't know Masala of azan, and not doing so means that they often perform it in the wrong manner, and they don't follow the actual method of azan. Let me take a call, please. Sorry about this. I'm busy, very busy today, that's why I have to take calls. Now बस मैं आधे घंटे का अभी जी आगे ठीक है। वो ऐसा को मासी भी आएगी और जिसमें सामान देना हो मिस पर आप उसको रेडी कर Sorry again, sir. So let's continue again. So ويستحب that it's recommended for the mu'adhin to be salih, pious, righteous person, and also knowledgeable about the ahkam of the sharia and the sunnah, and also he must be aware of the timing of the namaz. Nowadays you have clocks, so anyway, but still he should be aware of what time the actual time begins. Then he should be able to determine the actual time for the azan, because adhan can only be done after the time begins, not before the time. So he must be aware of what time he needs to do so. Where's Yahya now?
He's going to a wedding.
Why? Well, he never asked. He came back after the break.
No,
He came, I saw him.
he went before the break.
Why only he?
Because he wanted to go.
Strange. wedding is not more important than this. And it's also mustahab and recommended for the caller to be in the state of ablution, purity. And we mentioned the masail of ablution before, so those who haven't, like Brother Mikael, if you wanted to access these, we do have all the recordings available here on the YouTube channel. You can access these and go back to the right to the first lecture of Nurul Idaah, the fiqh, and you will find several masail of purification mentioned in detail in these recordings. And so you must be in state of ablution and purity. And he must be facing the Qibla, recommended. He must be facing the Qibla in order to do the namaz. Not the namaz, not azan. He must be facing the Qibla.
So nowadays, some people don't do it towards the Qibla. Nowadays, some people don't do it towards.
That's wrong. So they have to do it. And they have to do it in except in case when he is in a state of. Are you listening now? Except in one case he can avoid being towards the Qibla. That is when they are in a traveling. For example, on the plane they do azan. They don't know where the Qibla is. And so because there's a need of the journey, that they must not do it towards the Qibla, because they don't know the Qibla direction. Then in that case, they could do it without facing towards the Qibla. Otherwise, they must do it towards the Qibla. Another manner and a recommendation for the mu'adhin is that he should put his fingers isba'ayhi fi udhunayhi, like this. The fingers in the this, because this was the method adopted by Hazrat Bilal at first. So this way you can raise your voice more. That point they used to raise the voice, so they had to raise the voice because there was no means of projecting the voice. So they couldn't use the amplifiers. So they had to raise the voice. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. That's how it is. So they would put the fingers in the ears to make the voice really loud. And that was also recommended and mustahab. And it is also mustahab that when the mu'adhin, the caller towards the prayer, he reaches the stage of hayya al-falah, for him to turn the face towards the right, and on the hayya al-falah to turn the face towards the left. That's recommended. And it is also recommended to revolve as the person is doing the adhan. Not required now, but originally they used to do adhan on the minaret. But then they would have two windows of the minaret, the openings. So they would be required to turn to one window for the hayya al-falah and to the other one for the hayya al-salah, to one and hayya al-falah to the other. But not required now, but still the person is required to turn the face towards the right. And that will mean that they are doing this in the proper manner. And they must also, it's recommended for them to basically have some slight delay and between the adhan and the iqama. Adhan and the call towards the prayer and the call towards the establishing of the prayer. there should be a delay between these two to make sure that the workers, the people who are busy with the work, they can also come. ما يحضر الملازمون الصلاة. So those who are working somewhere, they get the time to prepare for the namaz and also come towards the namaz. Additionally, one should also keep in mind the waqt mustahab, the recommended time. So if it is azan should be done at the starting time and the namaz should be done at the recommended time. So meaning that recommended times we already done last time. Which time is recommended more for which namaz? We have covered that in the last lesson. You can, those who didn't, who weren't there, we can always access that in the past recordings, last week's recordings. And recommended time, I mean, that should also be considered. That's another mustahab in terms of the namaz. Well, in the Maghrib, obviously, because the azan and iqama is quite together, done very close together, there's not much gap in between. But the mustahab is a sakta, a pause of at least 3 verses, small verses, or 3 steps taken. And you should also use a word or kalima or two to differentiate between azan and iqama. So after azan you should say as-salah, as-salah, prayer time, ya musallin, ya, or those who pray. It's time to pray. Means you should differentiate between azan and iqama. Then straight after you should do iqama. So maghrib namaz, as we mentioned earlier, you have to hasten very quickly after the time. So as soon as the azan has been done, you should say a word or two to differentiate between azan and iqama, and then start iqama straight away. Yeah. Except, compared to other namaz, it's better for you to delay when the mustahab time begins, and also when the workers can reasonably come to join the namaz. So hopefully you understood this. So can someone repeat some of this to me, please? Okay, let me do what? Let me ask you to list some of these. You do not have a board, you know. I would ask you to list, huh?
It's the board behind that.
I could use that, but that is not good. Anyway, just tell me verbally the things that are necessary for azan. One thing each. Everybody will mention one different thing now. Starting from Ali.
The azan is only allowed in Arabic.
Yeah, good. Zafar now?
The azan should be at the time, it should be at the time of the prayer.
Good. Rakeem?
In Fajr, you have to say prayer is better than sleep twice.
Yeah, but there's an Arabic word for that. خير من النوم. Good. Mustafa?
You put your hands on your ears, like below it. Radiallahu anhu.
Fingers in the ear.
Yeah.
Good. Girls, اقرأ. Good. And who else is there? Sarah? Yeah, that's the manner of the azan. And who's there? Maryam, yes? Very good. And if Amba is listening, can you also mention one thing, please? In the chat? One thing that you learned today. That will take time now because there's a delay in the stream. So in case you small break. Alright, so move forward then. In that case, the next topic is that things which are disliked in the azan. Are you listening, Mr. Rakeen? Learn this, you may have to become a muaddin in the future.
Does he
Huh?
does he promote those?
What?
Does he promote those? He said
Do you all know adhan? How to do it? Have you done it before?
no.
You should all learn at least. Anything you can need to do adhan. Do you know Rakeen? Do you know adhan?
Yeah. Do it at
Well-
home. I do it at home.
Huh?
Do the azan at home.
Good. What about Yahya? Okay, so يقرأ التلحين now. Things which are disliked about adhan include talheen. I mean, adopting melody when it comes to reciting the adhan. One shouldn't read this in more melodious voice, like they do nowadays. Quite often they try to become very melodious when it comes to adhan. Doesn't mean that one is not required to make the voice melodious. Just means that one shouldn't adopt such melody which changes the meaning, actual meaning of the words. It doesn't make the word too long, not too long. The word's too long, and shouldn't adopt such a manner which basically changes the meaning. And let me tell you that you are sitting in class. What did you?
My pen's stuck and the lid's stuck together. I can't.
So, who did this now?
It's like 2 weeks ago he did it.
2 weeks ago. Okay.
Can't figure it out.
I brought it out, I was smart. Do it. Don't do it now, do it later, but make sure you concentrate on the class. So, what did I mention last thing? You should know this now.
Not the.
Don't do it melodiously.
Melodiously. So, doing azan melodiously in a manner which it changes. You're still talking to him.
Asking does he know what it means?
Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
What?
Without changing that tune, but you should do it in a way that it elongates the some parts.
Good. Good. So keep concentrating and don't distract others as well. Yeah? So it's your duty. Only talk to me, not to anyone else. If they don't do something wrong, they do something wrong. I will control that. Don't worry. Anyway, so one thing that is disliked is the talheen, melodious, adhan, adopting melody in the adhan. And similarly, iqamat al-muhdith, it is makruh for the one who is not in the state of wudu, state of purification, to call towards the establishing of the prayer, the iqamah, and also the adhan. So the one who is not in the state of purity, who is in state of minor impurity, he shouldn't be calling towards the iqamah, establishing, or towards the actual beginning of the namaz. And adhan al-junub, the person who is in the major impurity. Junub is someone who is in the state of major impurity. We covered this in the topic of purification when we were discussing that. Major impurity, and the person who is in the state of major impurity cannot do azan either. It is makruh for him to do adhan. Similarly, azan of the child is makruh because people are not likely to believe in. May think that he's playing around, so he's just doesn't mean it. So sabi la yaqil, the one who is not hasn't reached the age of maturity, who hasn't acquired the intellect yet, wisdom, he should avoid doing it, and that's makruh for him. Or in zayn, someone who has lost sanity, he shouldn't be doing it because people are not likely to believe in him. In sukran, the one who is drunk or in state of drunkenness, so he should avoid because he is not likely because of his sin, his unpiousness, because he is not a pious person. So as we mentioned earlier, for azan, the person must be pious. The one who is drunk is not a pious person, so you should avoid. And as we mentioned earlier, for ladies, it is not jais to raise the voice for the purpose of their sanctity and also their sacredness, I would say, and it's a protection and security. So better, so it's not disliked for them to raise the voice and do azan. Similarly, someone who is known to be a sinner should not do azan. It's disliked. Because azan is an indication and a call, an announcement of the start of the time. A sinner, his announcement is disliked to be accepted. So people may reject it. He's a sinner. So his shahada cannot be taken. So that therefore it is disliked to a certain extent. Similarly, stop playing now. It is makruh to do azan while sitting. It's on the screen for you. It's also makruh for the mu'adhin, the one who is doing the adhan, to speak in between. For example, if someone said salam to him, he cannot say wa alaikum salam on the way while he's doing azan. Similarly, in iqama as well, you could not do azan. You need to behave now, okay? Enough is enough. What's the point? Why are you distracted? Strange. Do you see anyone else doing this? Okay, let's concentrate now and do not distract others. This is a role of a devil now. But only shaitan could do that. Distracting the sharia, the people learning the knowledge. It has been mentioned that the shaitan distracts the people from learning the knowledge of Islam. Now look down his throat. Anyway, and also it is recommended for example, if he did kalam, talked in the adhan, it is recommended to repeat the adhan from the scratch. Mustahab, recommended. And similarly, for the ones who are doing zuhr and on the day of Friday, and they are in the city, because they should have been present for the Jummah instead, but they're doing Zuhr. It is a makruh, or they missed the Friday prayer. It's makruh for them to do azan for the Zuhr and the Iqamah as well. So Iqamah and azan is makruh for the ones who are reading Zuhr on the day of Friday, because it was they were required to join the Friday congregation, but they missed it. So it is better for them not to do adhan and Iqamah as well now, to avoid the shame. And now that we are approaching the end of adhan, let me just finish this off then, because and then I intend to finish this class off. We'll do some recap in a few minutes, then also call it a day. The next masala is that a person can do and announce the azan for the missed prayer, and also do the iqamat for the missed prayer. But if, as you mentioned earlier, I think maybe, if the person missed more than one prayer, then what they could do is to simply do the azan for the first one and do the iqamah for the rest of them. For example, they missed more than one namaz, now they want to repeat the namaz, and so what they could do azan for the first namaz, and for the rest of them they can simply restrict to the iqamah, only do iqamah and start every namaz. They could do both, but they can restrict to one of them. They can't leave both. Leaving both is also disliked for the missed prayers. This is when they perform both all namazes together in one place. If they perform these at two different places, then it is recommended for them to do both azan and iqamah again for every single time. The last thing is that when one hears, note this down please, when one hears the sunnah azan according to sunnah, it's important, because if azan is not according to sunnah, then this masala doesn't apply. Azan that is done following the rules just mentioned now, the sunnah method, then it is he is required to stop doing whatever he's doing and reply every azan. So utter the same words as the caller is performing. So with Allahu Akbar, he should also say Allahu Akbar, and with except Hayya al-Falah, he should say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. So when Hayya al-Falah, he should say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, or should say Sadaqta wa bararta, or Masha Allah. And in terms of in the morning prayer, when the muaddin says the salatu khayru min an-nawm, that the namaz is better than the prayer, the prayer is better than the sleep, then he should say Sadaqta wa bararta. That is how it is established by the sunnah. And in after Hayya al-Salah and Hayya al-Falah, in both he would say, both azan and iqamah, he would say what I just mentioned. Anyone? After La Hawla, I disclosed it. After Hayya al-Falah and also Hayya al-Salah, what did he say?
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah.
Slip of tongue there. Right. Okay, so that is another masla, yeah?
Is it advised to say after Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, to say Qurratu Ayn, ya Rasulullah?
Yeah, that is advised. So when someone, it is recommended, I would say mustahab, recommended. So something that's mustahab and has been established basically. So kissing your fingers, when you hear the name of Aqar Islam, kissing your thumbs and touching your eyes, that has been established by hadith, in fact. Which is, although a weak hadith, yet masail established from the weak hadith when they, indicate fadail or fadilat of an action, then to follow the hadith is still mustahab and recommended. So doing so, kissing your thumbs and putting in your eyes, or ears, on your eyes, is recommended. And saying Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is obviously wajib on you, fard in fact. So you must say Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or Qurratu Ayni bika ya Rasulullah. That's even better. So then, after the end of the adhan, there's this dua that must be done. Dua which is in Arabic, and the meaning is also given there. So dua means Allahumma rabba hadi da'wati tamma. O Allah, the Lord of this comprehensive, complete invitation, was salatil qa'ima, and also the Lord of this prayer that is enduring and continuing. The Sayyidina Muhammad al-Wasilat wal-Fadila, grant our Holy Prophet, peace be upon him, Muhammad, peace be upon him, al-Wasila, the intercession, or wasila, an excellence, a place near you, wal fadila, and also excellence, وَابْعَثْهُ مَقَامَ مَحْمُودَ الَّذِي وَعَدْتَهُ, and grant him that maqam mahmud, the highest exalted degree of the creations, the one that you promised him. وَارْزُقْنَا شَفَاعَتَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, and also grant us his intercession on the day of judgment. إِنَّكَ لَا تُخْلِفُ الْمِيعَادِ, indeed you do not go against your promises. Alright, so that was the chapter of Adhan, and that means we are coming towards the end of this class today. So just before we finish, you should be able to repeat what we learned today. You want to answer the questions? You said feel free to ask. So you want to answer? Alright, good. Anyway, so you should be able to repeat some of this now and recap quickly, please. You go ahead.
Some things that is like Iqamah is to validate the Azan.
Good.
To do it in minor impurity or major impurity. Those who are in maturity, the same or under the influence of alcohol, a female or an immoral person. Is to slap if the person is sitting or if the person is to speak during the Azan or Iqamah, even if it's like continuing Islam.
Good. Someone else now. Rakeem, what did you learn about Adhan?
Is this like to call Adhan and Iqamah for the noon?
For the non, don't read from the screen now.
For the on Friday in the city.
Huh? If you don't know the meaning, then that means you have wasted your time. What do you think? What's the meaning?
You
Mustafa?
can't, you just like to do it in the city.
If people have missed
Friday prayer.
Friday prayer, they shouldn't do. It's just like for them to do Azan and Iqamah for
Zohar namaz. Yeah. Good. Ali? Anything from you?
The person who is drunk or insane should not perform their Azan. And
Yes. Anything else?
a non-sinner should not do it. It is not rude to it is makruh to perform the azan in the state of sitting. It is makruh to speak in between the azan. And a person may do the azan and iqamah for a missed namaz, but if he has missed several namaz, then he can be restricted to only the iqamah. And when one hears the azan according to the sunnah, then he must stop everything that he is doing and reply with the same words that the muezzin is saying.
Great. In that case, what we will do is allow you to go. So, thank you for your time, and I hope you learned something, and make sure you just read over your notes again when you go home. Make sure you learn something. Next time when you come back, you're able to recap. Thank you. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.